Fucking do the intro.
Hello. Welcome back to another awesome episode of That Pop Culture Pod. Joining me today is Goff's number one fan. How is it going?
All right, let's do another one. I don't like that one.
I'm ending it today. This is my last day on Earth.
I am doing very good. How are you doing today, brother?
Much worse now that I know that my intros are all bad. However, other than that, pretty good. Doing pretty good. I was up until 4 in the morning playing Deadlock last night.
Healthy.
Yeah, very healthy sleeping habits. Well, it's one of those things where like I was playing some Hearthstone. I was gonna get off when Lexi got off, and then my buddy Mason wanted to play some Deadlock, and we got on. We played a couple games. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. And then my other buddy's like, oh, you guys are playing Deadlock. I'll hopped in the Discord call or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, we have to play at least one game because he just got on, which turned into like 3 more games, and then it was 4 in the morning.
Indeed. We've all been there.
Pretty awesome, really.
Yeah, I didn't even see that you hit me up for Helldivers yesterday, and I just went and laid down. I woke up this morning and I seen that text, and I was like, I would have absolutely gotten on Helldivers if I seen that.
I just assumed you saw it and you decided you hate me and don't want to play Helldivers with me because this guy doesn't play Helldivers with me.
So we're doing that. That's how we're acting today. Just gonna straight up be whatever, dude.
I'm firing shots. Juan doesn't like to play Helldivers with me because once I go into a cave, I never come out.
Ain't that the truth? I mean, it's not the truth that I want to play with you, but it is interesting that caves are your biggest enemy in a game where everybody's the enemy.
Well, let me tell you, I am like the MVP every game when there's not a cave on the map. I just stopped playing on the cave maps and the game's great again.
Dude, there you go. Well, I don't know. What's up?
I was gonna say they fixed a lot of the server issues we were having, which is really awesome because like I don't know if it was a crossplay specific thing or whatever, but we were having a lot of server issues when we were playing last time, Jimmy, Ryan, and I. But last night, Jimmy and I had literally no crashes, no issues, no like errors at all. We played a set of missions, 2 sets of missions, I think.
I had taken a break off of it while I finished Wukong and the new Mafia game. And I got on like Tuesday, I think, for, I don't even know, maybe like 30, 40 minutes. I played just like 1 or 2 missions with my brother-in-law. And yeah, he got kicked out like every time. Every single game he got kicked. I don't have that problem when I'm not playing in a party with people. If I just join randoms, I never have that problem.
Yeah, we kept having that issue so bad that we like all kind of like just got off a couple times ago when we were playing. We're just like done because one of us or multiple of us would be crashing every time. And the one time we all crashed on the last mission on the evac, so we just didn't get all the bonuses for doing the mission series.
Yes.
After
the
playing
classic
for like
switcheroo.
an hour and 15 minutes, and it's just like, okay, we're gonna take a break from Helldivers. But it seems like they are legitimately working on the servers, which is nice to see. I think they weren't expecting the amount of extra traffic from the Xbox when they released it that they got. Like, I think they knew more people were gonna be on, but I don't think they knew it was gonna be that many.
Yeah, I don't. I think maybe they also didn't assume so many people to come back to help the Xbox players. Like, even just the PlayStation and PC alone people, like, came back en masse.
Yeah, I mean, I the whole reason I've been playing again really is because like I can play with you and Jimmy now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's because like it's one of those games where it's one of my favorite games in my rotation right now, but I would never really fire it up and play it by myself.
Oh,
Like
really? I think it's just fine.
I think it's it scratches specifically like that team based uh shooter kind of vibe for me right now.
Yeah.
Whereas but it's not a game I'd ever like as far as a game to just play, I think it's like a 6 out of 10. But as a game with some of my friends, it's probably like an 8 or 9 for me. That's kind
Okay,
of how I
that's fair.
feel. Because
That's
it's when
fair.
you're actually like all coordinating and everyone's like doing their thing and has their own gear and their own way they're playing the game and running around and doing the missions and everything is like a ton of fun.
Yeah,
But when you're
definitely.
playing with some randoms and it's just kind of like feels like a normal shoot 'em up grinding XP kind of game, it's pretty mid for
Okay, I
me.
could buy into that. I don't particularly mind that aspect of it, but I absolutely understand what you mean.
Yeah, like I don't think it's like I think what it is it's kind of like that Left 4 Dead scratch for me, where it's just like a fun log on, do a couple missions, log out, not a lot of pressure. There's cool things you can get excited about, like unlocking new weapons to try and the new mods and everything, but like it's not like you feel obligated to get on and play a lot. Good drop in, drop out kind of game.
Yeah, that is probably the best way I describe it. Is like you don't have to worry about missing anything.
Yeah.
And also like each individual squad contributes so little to the overall goals that it's like they're not really missing too much if we're not all on at the same time. Like you don't just have to play that game, which is why I haven't just been playing that game.
They also do a
But
good job of
yeah.
like when you if you play during one of the major operations and then you don't play for a couple days or whatever and you log back in, you get more of the credits
Yeah.
to get new stuff or whatever, which kind of like that's the one of the fun things is like every time you get on, you can usually buy at least one new thing if you contributed to the objective.
No, I definitely get that. Like that is probably one of my favorite aspects of the game. Like when I got back on, I had money from two separate major orders that I had helped contribute to.
Yeah.
So I had like I don't even know like five of the like whatever that point system is. And then when I logged back on, I was up to like 120. I'm like, this is incredible. This is amazing.
Yeah, I've been like I said, I've been enjoying it a lot when people are on to play, but like I won't even open it if somebody else isn't wanting to play Helldivers. But that is partially because I'm very addicted to Hearthstone Battlegrounds and Deadlock. So,
Yeah, your favorite game, the game that has absolutely no randomization at all.
yeah, yeah. You know, random is a lot of fun for replayability, but it also makes the lower end of variance make some of the games so bad.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
know.
think variance is very important to make a game that's replayable
Yeah,
in
definitely.
general. Like you need some sort of random elements to make it so it's continuously enjoyable to play or whatever, but when you get
Yeah.
hit with the really low end of variance and it's just like you spend your whole game basically looking for a couple pieces of like a cards or combo and just like never find it. Your warband never gets strong and you just lose. Oh,
That's
okay.
not your favorite part of the game. That's my favorite part.
Oh, that's a bad favorite part of a game.
Ooh, bad take. I got Ryan takes over here. Shout out Ryan.
Yo, what's up, Ryan?
Um, no, I definitely get what you mean. Like that, we talked about it a little bit before we started. That is one of the things that I find very frustrating about certain games, especially when you have like a good strategy in mind, and then the randomness. Like my examples, like D&D style games with dice rolls. Like the randomness is amazing because then you want to keep playing because you're like, oh, that was funny that happened, or oh, okay, well, let's try that
Mm-hmm.
again. But then you're like, oh my god, I just want to get to this next part, and I keep getting screwed over because of bad rolls.
Yeah, I mean, taking it to the dice rolling aspect, like some of my very favorite moments in Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons have been because of insanely good and insanely bad rolls. Like it's you don't really remember like the times where you roll statistically average. You remember when like one of my shield drones tanks like 20 of Ryan shots, and he wants to kill me with a gun. Um,
Outside
or
of the game.
yeah, or you remember like your best guy in your whole army that like has a 2-up armor save, so anything but a 1, he's not gonna take damage, and then you just like roll 5 1s and he dies immediately. It's just like, oh yeah, this guy survived for 10,000 years and won hundreds of crusades across the galaxy, and then he just kind of gets crapped on by a bunch of guys with freaking bolt action rifles
For the Emperor.
for the Emperor, brother. But like that's again, sometimes the bad parts are bad in the moment, but they're very memorable, especially with your friends because they're funny or they're fun or they create good stories. And sometimes the bad end of variants in those type of games is kind of what gives you the most laughs, you know? Like
Yeah.
cuz if you're just like crushing all the time when you're playing D&D or Warhammer or whatever and like nothing bad ever happens, like it's actually not, it seems like it'd be fun, but after a while it's not really fun to
Yeah.
just like
No.
be, because like
For
I
sure.
mean I'm sure everyone who's listening to this pretty much has played some sort of RPG game where you hit a point where it's just like nothing matters anymore. Like you can just like walk
Yeah.
around and just like hit your attack button and that's it. Don't have to really
Yeah, it's
try
kind of how it
anymore.
is
Just
in
like
Cyberpunk. Like when you get
yeah,
towards the end game of Cyberpunk and you got your build really pressed out. Like I have to put the game on like really hard. And then it's like still a lot of the fights are still gonna be pretty easy. But it's like I have to put the game on, or The Witcher is another good one. The Witcher, you're just so overpowered by the end of the game that I always have to put the difficulty up like crazy amounts for it to like not even be a challenge, but just not just be just like hack and slash.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's kind of because you know it's fun to be overpowered for a little bit, but if
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe of the game, it gets pretty boring pretty fast, and that there's no challenge, there's no funny this happened because of variance kind of thing. So most of my favorite games, you know, I like card games a lot, all involve variance because I think that it creates good cinema. It creates good lore.
I get that. I buy into that for sure. Speaking a quick shift or a slight shift. When you're talking about like be overpowered, it's always funner to only be that way for a little while and like you go your up through your ups and downs.
Hmm.
I finally finished Wukong, and
Hmm.
that's kind of how like the end of the game is like you if you can really nail the sort of build you're going for, the end of the game is basically so easy. Like you might have one or two challenging bosses at the end of the game to where you're like, okay, well, they'll put you in your place a little bit, but then you end up beating them. This game was like that though. Like you have one huge final area, and the area is literally just full of bosses. There's like 8 or 9 bosses in this one specific area before you go on to the final boss of the game. And I'm sure it's for people who didn't explore as much as I did. So it's like good for like XP and getting more stuff. So I get to the final boss, and I didn't have too much problems with a lot of those bosses. And I get to the final boss, and you're basically, I mean, I don't really want to ruin it, like who it is, but it's exactly who you think it's going to be going into the storyline.
Hmm.
There's like 2 choices of who you think you're going to fight at the end of the game. Technically, you can fight both, but one's an optional, one's not. So you get to this point, you fight the boss, and I'm going to be honest with you, Hunter. It is probably the worst designed boss I've ever seen in my life, and obviously it's the final boss, so he's 20 times harder than every other boss. Like, this boss is so stupid in the way that they designed it that if you go to try to heal, he will literally take your healing flask, heal himself, and then you don't heal at all. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah, that
And
sounds
then he
pretty
gives it
miserable.
back to you. He gives you back your healing flask. So it's like, it's one of those bosses like Dark Souls 2 style, even though I didn't mind Dark Souls 2 at all. It's one of those Dark Souls 2 type bosses where it's only hard for the sake of being hard and it's not hard for any like artistic reason or because it like fits into like what's going on at that moment. Like he's literally just a hard, super incredibly difficult boss to fight. And like I looked up videos, I'm like, okay, so what am I missing? Are there something I'm missing here? And everybody's doing the exact same thing as me. And everybody's basically saying this is like the only bad boss in the whole game. Like it's just so stupid why it's designed the way it is. So I was like trying to figure out like strategies and I couldn't find anything. And then I ended up because like I said, they were all basically doing what I was doing. There's a few different fighting styles, so it's not, par for the course, like exactly the same, but like with similar ways of
Mm-hmm.
coming at the boss is what I mean. So I wasn't getting any help. And then I finally see one guy say on a random, I don't even think it was a video, it was like a random Reddit post or whatever. He was like, hey, try this armor because you heal in water very, very slowly. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try that out. That little bit of healing that you get the whole time you're fighting the boss literally made me not have to use the flask too much. So I was able to beat him like the very first try once I used that armor. I was so mad at myself that I had never once considered the fact that I had that armor. And I know I had it because I used it for a long time. But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that you could be super overpowered and then a game will just be like, nah, that's not how that works around here. And I typically don't really have a big problem with it as long as there's like a reason why the boss is so difficult. I hate when bosses are hard just for the sake of being hard. Like that's not interesting to me. That doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, there's a boss that reminds me of in Risk of Rain 2, Mithrix. It's like one of the main big boss. Like there's a couple different big bosses or whatever that you can choose to fight as the last part of the game. Um, but part of the fight against him is if you are too overpowered, it actually is harder than if you're like moderately strong because for
Okay.
one part of the fight he takes all your items away.
Oh,
And
sweet.
he has all of your item buffs against you. So if your character's like so overpowered, you're one tapping everything, and he takes all your stuff, like you will just get one tapped immediately back. So like if you get too powerful, you can't really fight that boss, or he will just murder you at that phase of his fight where he takes all your items. So it feels very similar to that, where it's just like, oh, you feel like you're really strong? Fuck you. I don't care. I'm
It's
gonna
actually
take all your
funny
shit
you.
then, because that's like
It's
right
funny
on.
you.
I was gonna say that's like right on line with like, oh, you have all this good healing items. No, you don't.
That's also what this boss in Wukong does. Is he literally takes all of like the high-powered relic things that you always have equipped. He just takes them right off of you in the second phase of the fight. So you're going in with no buffs at all, and he has all of them. It's like that. Like, what the hell even is that? Like, imagine if you were fighting somebody in the street, and then as they're beating your ass, they're also robbing you. They don't
It,
beat your ass and then rob you. They just straight up are like finessing your pockets
they
as they're
literally just
punching you in the
take your
face.
gun.
Yeah, yeah. I guess you'd have to dodge these bullets before you could take it.
Yeah, no, there's a sometimes I think there's a pretty big difference between like making a difficult boss that like part of the enjoyment of the game is to overcome the obstacle, or like in Dark Souls or Souls like games a lot of the time it's learning the tempo, like learning
Yeah,
the
yeah,
move set, learning like when you actually have openings and when you don't, versus like when it seems like you might have one and you're just going to get played by like their backswing or whatever.
exactly.
Versus something that's just like almost anti-consumer, like anti-gamer. Like it's just like
Yeah,
I'm gonna make this not enjoyable, and you're gonna have to cheese this fight. Is like a really lame way to work on those things and or to make those things come together, in my opinion. Especially when you have a game that you have so much time invested in, like a game like a Souls game or the Wukong game, where it's really long, and it's just like you get to the end and it's just like, yeah, this guy just kind of sucks to play against.
and then it's the final one. It's like this is not even a cherry on top. This is just like egg on head, dude. I cannot stand that because like the final boss should be like the culmination of everything you fought against all throughout the game. Like I love when it's like that, and like you said, yeah, just learning the boss. The final boss of Elden Ring is a good example. It's like a giant nine tails fox, like a giant squid thing, and yeah, you basically just have to run around until he comes down and time your attacks when he comes down and all that sort of stuff. And I love those sort of fights, like just being able to,
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're not paying attention, you're absolutely going to get punished. I like that a lot. But man, I cannot stand when it's like, hey, you did everything right, death. Like, that is so annoying to me.
Yeah, it's a funny way to, because to me it feels very similar to when you play RPG games and the higher difficulties don't do anything but make them take 10 times more damage to kill them.
I hate that so much. That
That's
is
like one of
like
my
the worst
least
aspect
favorites.
about that.
Because I think it
Ugh.
was the game this is true in Destiny as well, but more so, I think it was the Division. I played that game a bunch, but then I liked it a lot until we got to the higher difficulties, and it's just like there's just like a guy with a gun, and you have to shoot him for 10 minutes straight to kill
Yep.
him. It's just like he's got so much HP, and it's just like this isn't like I'm not having fun. Like I have limited ammo, limited grenades, and it's not that it's hard. I just have to shoot until I'm done shooting, get behind this cover, reload, roll to a new piece of cover, shoot until I have to reload, rinse and repeat. But it takes freaking 15 minutes to do it, and there's no challenge in it. It's just the challenge is like not getting bored to death and trying something different just for fun.
Yeah.
And it's just
That's
like,
how shooters are. I've noticed the most. Those are plagued with it the most. Is literally everybody's impossible to kill, and you're just easier to kill. It's like that's so stupid. That literally doesn't make any sense.
yeah, like I am a big fan of like harder difficulty, add a second boss. Add a new move set, make them shoot more accurately, make them roll around more, make them have some more guys in the arena with you or whatever. Like there's a lot of ways to go about it that's not just like this guy always one taps you and he has a bajillion HP and you're literally going to be bored by the end of the boss fight. It's like the most anticlimactic thing possible for you to literally feel like you're bored doing the boss fight because it just takes so long to beat them.
Helldivers probably has the best difficulty system in any recent memory that I've played. Because literally, if you go up in difficulty of Helldivers, it does everything is the exact same way to like kill.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is completely killable in the exact same way. Your health, you take the same amount of damage. Everything's the same, except it's just bigger mobs, and the mobs tend to be higher. Like the higher level mobs that are more rare on lower difficulties. They just spawn more. So it's like you're
Yeah.
literally at no disadvantage other than just increased numbers. And it's like that's perfectly fine, dude. Like I don't know. Like Halo is probably the worst difficulty rating games ever. Like it's just like an elite on hard or legendary is basically unkillable, and if they look at you the wrong way, Master Chief just explodes into a million pieces. Like that literally doesn't make sense. Like that isn't fun. That's why I never play on any difficulty above normal because it's like it's not going to be any more challenging or any more hard. It's just going to be, hey, were you lucky enough to not get sniped by that one jackal in the back?
Yeah, I have beaten most of the Halo games besides I think 5 and 6 on Legendary, but it is usually the biggest challenge to me is not getting so bored I want to quit by the end of it because it's exactly what I was talking about with the Division. Is like I'm going to sit behind this cover, I'm going to shoot you until I have to reload and I'm going to like try and poke at you with my secondary so your shield doesn't recharge and I don't have to do this all over again. And it's like I have to take every fight one guy versus one guy for like a 12-hour campaign.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, it is hard. I'm definitely not gonna say it's easy, but it's also not hard for the reasons I want it to be difficult.
Exactly.
Like maybe they should just make the grunts into more elites and make the elites into more hunter sets, But like, it is, in my opinion, a very lazy way to make a game harder because it's the easiest thing you could do is to just tone up their damage and HP basically just a sliding scale.
Yeah.
You don't have to add any new move sets. You don't have to even change the spawns. You just literally go, okay, the difficulty is basically just that you take more damage, you deal less damage. Slider.
It's actually funny you bring this up because since I played Oblivion so much, that's basically all the Oblivion difficulty slider is just how much more damage can they take. And it's like, well, why wouldn't you just spawn more enemies? Like, I don't get that. Like, difficulty literally should just be more people you have to attack, or how many more people are attacking you. And
Or
like
they're
you said, like the
better at
multiple bosses
attacking.
and stuff.
Cuz
Oh, yeah, better AI.
I
Yeah.
don't even mind them being more accurate. Like I think having a higher accuracy is a fine slider.
Yeah.
Like but why should their plasma rifle do 10 times more damage than my exact same gun is like
Yep.
pretty, especially when you're in like a universe game like Halo where like there's set lore to the game. Like their plasma guns don't just do more damage. There's not like a magic system that's making them enchanted do more damage or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
because fuck you, that's why.
Literally. Literally, dude.
Yeah, I am a big fan of Helldiver's difficulty system, like we were saying, and also, um, like Risk of Rain has a good difficulty system as well. That on the harder difficulties, the game just starts spawning harder enemies faster,
Yeah.
basically. Because it's you're on a timer in Risk of Rain. Not that like you run out of time, but the longer you are in the game, the harder the enemies are and the more enemies there are. So like
Okay.
basically it just accelerates that timer for you is how it kind of shakes out. And like there are definitely some really annoying damage sponge enemies in that game too. But for the most part, if you don't get it's more so that you didn't get good enough items to keep up with the scaling or you didn't go fast enough. So you're kind of getting punished for it for the way you're playing instead of just you have to do this forever. Like there was a workaround, you just didn't do it kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine. Like it's I like when games can be punishing in that way, especially when it's a game that's all about around building items up and building your character up. It's like if you never upgrade your items, you probably shouldn't be able to beat the harder bosses super easily. That's fine.
Exactly.
Cuz like even
Yeah.
that's another thing too is like I don't mind if harder bosses get like maybe they're have poisoned attacks. So you have to really start dodging more or if they like maybe they do flaming damage or whatever, or maybe they have some armor that has some procs or something like that. Is like those are all other good ways because then it at least makes the fight different too. It's not just more of the same thing to a point where it's boring.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100% on the same page with you.
Because again, even I like that in like the new game plus and Elden Ring, like sometimes there's just two of the boss.
Yeah, I don't mind that myself.
Because it's just like that is a new unique challenge now. Like because now not only do you have to know the move set, but you have to see which way they're going. You know, you have to know what you have to have a new plan kind of thing.
Yeah. I definitely think yeah, like you were saying. I like when it is switched up, like how every game run through of a game can be different depending on what the difficulty is. That is a big thing that I'm a fan of. Like you were saying, like how they just change up, or like, oh, Space Marine, did this Warhammer Space Marine 2 did this really well too. Is you're playing at a higher difficulty, you just never really get any of the easy to kill enemies. Usually you just get hoarded by the more difficult ones. And it's like, well, that just makes sense if we're playing on a harder difficulty. Like still
That
taking the same damage, still giving the same damage. It just I like that a lot more because it really does make the gameplay experience different as you're playing from difficulty to difficulty.
that game also has a really nice self-balancing thing with the difficulty too, where like they make it so you get less ammo and less heals, but you always
Yeah,
have a melee weapon. So like there's no
exactly.
risk of you just not being able to do damage anymore. It just means that you have to get up close, which is more risky. So like if you're not
Yeah,
managing your items, you have to take more risks instead of just like, well, now you're out of you're out of bullets and you're out of grenades and this enemy's still at 60% health and he's healing. And it's just like, "Oh, okay. That's cool, I guess."
yeah. I'm playing Mafia 1 right now, and that is like the worst aspect about that game is you already have limited ammo, and I'm playing on a harder difficulty, and it's just like when you're out of ammo, you're just I guess I'll just stand out of cover and die then and retry to not lose all my ammo because there's literally no other way to approach fights.
Yeah, that is not my favorite.
So annoying, dude. So annoying. And they're so stingy with grenades. Like, God, dude.
Let me
Mm-mm-mm.
have a hand grenade as a treat. Come on.
Please, please, just one.
One little treat.
But I will say, though, I haven't really been gaming as much recently. Me and Jess have been playing. I don't know if we've even recorded since, but I got Jess a Switch 2, and
Mhm.
we've been playing the Mario Kart a lot. So that's been really fun. I really like the new one. I don't know why people were like not particularly impressed with it. I really like it. And the open world mode's so cool. But I've actually been not gaming as much and not been super like into that mode right now. We started watching the Yellowstone shows
Mhm.
and I've been eating that up like crazy. Like we're watching them chronologically, so we're going because technically they didn't come out in chronological order, kind of like Star
Right.
Trek. And dude, I am obsessed with these shows. It's like basically all I've been thinking about. Oh, and also I started watching Star Trek again. I'm watching stuff I've never seen before, and I'm gonna do. I was already going chronologically with them already. I think when we started the podcast, I was still on Star Trek a little bit, but there's a lot of shows that have come out since my favorite show had ended, which is Voyager, and they all take place beforehand. But I always kind of just go back to where I had ended when I stopped watching, because obviously it's hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands of hours of TV show at this point. But I am actually going to go back to the beginning and do whatever show was chronologically first, and I'm going to start going forward that way. I probably won't watch Next Gen or Deep Space Nine because I just finished both of them recently. I actually just finished Deep Space Nine yesterday. It's the first time I've ever actually finished it. But I'm pretty excited about that. Like, one of my coworkers is really into it, and he said that a lot of the shows that came out post Voyager are really, really good. So I'm pretty excited to see what these newer shows have to offer, because I've always been staunch. Anything after 2002, I'm just not interested in. But I think I'm ready to just kind of break that mold and try to see what else is out there. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
Hear
you
the
can,
different stories.
yeah, sometimes you can be surprised at like how much you enjoy a very different take on something that you already enjoy if you're willing to go into it and kind of not stress too much about how you want it to be, but just kind of like take it as where it's at, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Which you would think I would be a lot more open about that, because I will watch anything Star Wars, anything Halo. I'll even play the new games, even though I'm not particularly happy with them. I'll read the new books, even though I'm not particularly happy with the direction it's going. Like, I'm completely open minded with every aspect. I'll even like read or watch non canon Lord of the Rings stuff, which is Lord of the Rings is probably the only thing I do that I don't follow the canon. And anime specifically, like my favorite anime is Naruto. Absolutely had no problem watching Boruto. It's like I knew it was going to be nothing like what it was, and I was like, oh well, I'm okay with that. It's different. I don't know what it is about Star Trek that I just refused, absolutely refused to try any of the new stuff. And actually, what really made me change my mind, if I'm going to be honest, I have no reason to lie. Let's be honest. I'm an open book. I seen a few screenshots of a new episode of Strange New Worlds that came out. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really reminiscent of how Star Trek used to be. And I tried watching some of the shows when I was younger, trying not to be such a big snob. And it just seemed such a quick departure from what it was that I was like, it's clearly not going to be for me. And I've seen that the Strange New Worlds, which people are really, really happy about. I think it takes place right before the original series. A lot of it is very reminiscent of how I remember Star Trek being, like good looking people on a starship doing random bull crap. Like I like that aspect of it. Like all the stuff that Futurama makes fun of. I like that about Star Trek. That's genuinely what I like about it. And I felt like it had been a long time since I'd seen anything post 2002 that really felt that same vibe. And I'm honestly willing to give it a shot. Like you said, sometimes you just got to be open minded. I don't know why Star Trek is where I draw the line, but I'm going to try to break that and try to experience a little bit more of it.
Sometimes it helps it helps me remind myself if it's not like just like some director that wants to like completely change something just to be the kind of person that completely changes a beloved IP or whatever, like a lot of the times the people who make these things, or at least the creative people, the people behind it, really love the show and maybe or
Yeah,
like love the IP and maybe they just loved something different than you did, but they still loved the same thing that you loved enough that they thought
yeah,
that this would be cool to make and that they would write this story up and that they would make this set and everything and whatever is they might not the thing that they're infatuated with about it might not be the exact same as you, but you can remember like these people do really love the thing I love, and it's kind of a cool way to see an expression of something you like in a different way. You
yeah.
know,
I definitely get that.
like what
Well, and
captured them within the universe might be different because some people, especially with something like Star Trek, some people loved the story, some people loved the characters, some people just really loved the sets and that they were willing to be so out there, and it was one of the first big great science fiction shows. So
yeah,
like a lot of some people like they respect what the show did for science fiction, but maybe they just liked that it was willing to push boundaries in that way. And some people really like Star Trek because of the politics of Star Trek. And like that one is uniquely a show where there's a
bingo.
there's a lot of different things about it that you can really get a lot of enjoyment from. That could be your favorite part of the show pretty reasonably.
Yeah. I I definitely okay, so here's like a good thing is like a good example of what you're saying in action and how I can relate to it is Jonathan Frakes, Commander Riker from Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
He did an incredible amount of directing in Star Wars post Next Gen. Like he started in Next Generation and then he continued onwards. He did all the movies post that, a bunch of episodes of a bunch of different of the series. A lot of people make fun of the stuff that he's directed and written. They're not a fan of it. Every single time I see, written and directed by Jonathan Frakes, I know it's going to be something that I like because he perfectly hits all of the stuff that I really do enjoy out of it. And I think that's a good example of what you're saying is like, if you have somebody in there that genuinely likes it, even if it's not for the same reasons, like they're genuinely passionate about it, that is what I'm willing to give a chance to. Like The Witcher is a good example, is long tan and handsome, the Superman guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Oh, Henry Cavill. He is so passionate about The Witcher like I am. And I liked a lot of what they were doing in the show, and I didn't mind the stuff that was different because it's like I know like he is trying to keep it on track to be, something fans would like. And
Mm-hmm.
him leaving because they absolutely refuse to do, stay truthful or faithful to it. That is like something it's like I mean I might be willing to try it going forward, but it's like as long as somebody is in the control room, doesn't even have to be the person at the helm. In the control room that is passionate about it, I think that can always make anything better. Like Tolkien's son. I like honestly a lot of the stuff post Tolkien. The dad. A lot of the stuff that his son put together, I really, really like. A lot of people don't like it, but I do because he's very passionate about it. And I think that being passionate about something, even if it's different, does it justice. You just have to be open minded. But like I said, everything other than Star Trek, I'm very open minded about. Did you finish Carl? Dungeon Crawler Carl book one? Do you want to talk about that and then we can end it out?
I did. I did finish book one. I got book two, and I have not started it quite yet because I have a couple other books that I have to return that I wanted to finish first. But
Okay.
I'll probably be starting the second one, probably maybe even today, honestly.
Okay.
Um,
Well, why don't we spend the rest of the episode talking about it and then we can kind of end it here for anybody who's not planning on reading it or doesn't mind spoilers.
okay.
All right, guys. Well, like we were just talking about, clearly you're here, you're listening, hopefully. This is where we'll end it for anybody who isn't particularly interested in Dungeon Crawler Kara Book 1 spoilers. If you don't mind, feel free to keep listening. If not, we will see you next week. Feel free to like, subscribe, follow, retweet, all that stuff on all of our social medias. And if you guys have read, definitely leave comments to everything we're going to talk about so we could talk more about it with you guys. All right. What did you think about the first book?
I liked it a lot. Um, it is honestly, I think that the a lot of the ideas of it and everything are really cool and fun and everything, but one of the my biggest takeaways is it was very funny. There's a lot of
So
parts that
funny.
made me laugh out loud when I was listening to it that like that is not a very common experience for me to be laughing when I'm listening to an audiobook, to be honest. Like even like I can recognize things are funny or whatever, but there's just some absolutely hysterical moments and like some things that come
Unhinged,
together.
honestly.
Yeah, definitely unhinged. There's just some things that kind of come together that are like of course. Like of course one thing that comes to my mind is like when everyone's just like say it Carl, say your catchphrase. He's like what's my catchphrase? Like what are you talking about? And then when he finally is like damn it donut, it's like that's yeah, he's been saying that the whole damn book. Like I just it
Non-stop.
didn't really like I think it's funny when he says it or whatever, but I didn't really think about it as like oh it's literally his catchphrase. Like he unintentionally has a catchphrase on this galactic game show.
The thing that I like about the author is I think he's very fourth wall breaking inside of the book without breaking the fourth wall. Like, I bet you $20 he was writing this book and was like, I've said that 20 times. You know what? I'm gonna make that his catchphrase. I bet you he was writing the scene and was like, "Oh my god, okay, this is absolutely his catchphrase because I've said it more than anything else in the book."
Yeah.
I loved it so much. Donut genuinely might be one of the greatest characters of any book I've ever read.
Yeah, she's my favorite character for sure. Um, I one of my favorite parts with her is when after they fight the juiced lizard, um, the gym bro lizard, um, and she's like pretending she's dying as her health is going up or whatever, all for the cinema. And she's just like, "Go on without me, Carl," and just like he did a great job of like what I think a cat would be like with super high intelligence, but at the end of the day, it's still a cat. You know,
Her
like
impulsiveness is the most cat aspect about her.
yeah,
Just how impulsive. Oh god, I got this tiara. Don't let her put that on. Boom, it's on. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? He literally just said, don't put it on.
yeah, but it's a cute tiara and it's purple. It's her color.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Did you even consider? Maybe you think she's impulsive, but maybe she stands close to her ideals no matter what, and her ideals are beauty, grace.
That is what a princess would do. All right. Um, Other than Carl and Donut, what are some of the characters you've met so far that you really like?
I really I liked them is maybe not the right way to put it, but the Glorp Glorp podcaster game show pig. Oh my god, that character.
Oh, what's his name? Maestro? The Maestro?
Yeah, the Maestro. Yep, that's
yeah.
it.
How's it going, my little piglets?
Glorp Glorp.
Glorp Glorp. Yeah, that character is just like so. I love how much of the book is just like directly ripped from cultural phenomenon going on right now, because that character just like so perfectly encapsulates a lot of like the dude bro podcasters and like dude bro like life advice masculinity coach kind of people or whatever, but like taken to the extreme that fits within this universe. And it's such a easy character to hate but also to laugh at. You know, that was probably one of my favorite characters just because I feel like it's such a perfect encapsulation of that. I really like the Mordecai as well. I feel
Mordecai's probably my favorite non-main character. He is so incredible.
I can't think of what her name is or what their name is right now, but the rep for the company that talks to Donut about the freaking Real Housewives.
Zeb.
Yep, Zeb. That's it. It was a Z. But that part is so funny to me too. It's just like I had to watch all this stuff, and no one ever wanted to talk about Real Housewives until Donut was here.
Yes.
Yeah,
she is for literally one of the most background characters. She's just so genuinely. I like this a lot about him. I like how he makes the enemies so likable. Because even though she's obviously just a cog in the wheel or whatever, it's like Carl and Donut would have every possible reason to hate this exact fish. And it's like she's so likable.
I think,
dude, she's incredible.
I like that obviously there's a lot of funny things about the book, but I do like that the humor does a good job of like still being grounded by kind of like lofty philosophical questions and ideals of just like, well, yeah, these people are their enemies and they're bad people, but they are literally in the exact same position that Carl and Donut are in.
Yep.
Just they're on a different end of it. Like instead of having to be on the game show, they have to run the game show or their family is going to get blickied.
Yep, exactly.
It's just like, so I think it's interesting that there's Carl and Donut have to do things that are not good also. Like most of the dungeon mobs are real. Like they are sentient.
Yeah, they actually exist.
Yeah, and it's just like, so they're kind of doing horrible things to survive just like these other people are. But you don't have the lens of them being the main character to kind of protect them somewhat. You know, so it's very interesting that the perspective of the book being the people in the dungeon like makes a lot of the other characters seem like maybe they're worse than they are. But even though they're all pretty much the same, they're in the same exact situation where they're all under an autocratic government that wants to host game shows to make money that
Yeah,
happen to be killing and absorbing whole planets.
the NPC thing you were talking about was interesting to me because, like, yeah, he just like murders a bunch of goblins, and then he gets the patch, and then he just walks right in, and they were like, "Are you the person that murdered all those goblins?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then they just literally rob the goblins after they fucking leave. It's like they figure out that these are actual thinking real beings, and they still just immediately rob them. I love it. It's so fucking funny.
And
The
get an achievement
situations
for
that they
blowing
put
up all
themselves
the
in.
goblin babies.
Yeah, dude, the AI might be like my second favorite character. He is such an asshole. Are you watching? I mean, are you reading it on Audible? Or are you reading it? Reading it?
I'm listening to it on Audible because I got the book at the library, and then I wanted to check out the audiobooks. Everyone said it was so good, and then I just immediately returned the book because the audiobook is so good. It's so good.
So like one, I love, like I said, that's why I like the AIs. I really like the way that they approach the AI in the Audible version. But quickly, just a quick walk backwards. When you were talking about the gym bro, it was cracking me up when they were literally beating his ass, and then the whole time the guy's just like, "Bro, what are you doing, bro?" Like that's exactly how I probably would have read it if I was
Yeah.
reading it instead. It's just so funny.
I like that when they finally beat him, he's just like, "Good job, bro."
Oh my god, yes, dude.
Yeah, it's the book does a very good job of kind of like walking on the razor's edge between like, oh my god, this is so horrifying and scary, and this is absurd and hilarious. Like
Yep.
it's so effortlessly feels like it kind of takes you back and forth between like, haha, this is a funny RPG book. That's like really humorous, and the main characters are literally this kind of like macho Duke Nukem kind of guy and his pet cat who's a princess. But also the reality is of like this guy's entire life got turned upside down, and he was made to basically battle royale fight against people and various different types of consciousness or whatever, um for survival, and the realities of just like it is kind of a critique of a lot of modern media, and like how like I feel like it is a bit of a critique of a lot of like reality television and the modern ecosystem of like social media and everything, and those extremes of entertainment.
I also think, like you were talking about, like the horrible aspect about it is, I think this was the Maestro show. Did they have other guests on the Maestro show?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Frank and whatever, right?
Yeah, Frank and yes, I can't. It'll come to me.
His wife, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was the thing that I think is interesting as well. Is like you see how that these two clowns are dealing with it, and then you see like what it probably is doing to everybody else, like how it makes them crazy and makes them do bad stuff. And this is like, oh wow, this is a horrible goddamn scene, and you're like dealing with like all the the repercussions and like how other people are just cracking under the pressure. And then you got Glurp Glurp in the background. It's like, what the hell's going on here, dude?
Yeah, and it really speaks to kind of the absurdity of like these people are in real life situations, but they're also just here for entertainment.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
there's a
Exactly.
big disconnect between the people who are fighting for their lives and their survival of themselves and their loved ones, or the chance to maybe reunite with their loved ones, all while it's being televised by a bunch of people who are sitting at home and just watching this so they don't so they have something to do that's not hate the government, basically. It's the
Yeah,
spectacle to
literally.
keep the people happy from their fascist government.
I've just been sitting here chuckling to myself the whole time just about the goblin babies.
Yeah,
It's just so fucked up.
the
And then the
achievements really
AI
make
is
me
like, "You're
laugh.
sick." He's
Yeah,
like, "I didn't know. I didn't know."
yeah, and it's just like, and just so you know, they're not real babies or whatever, and there's like, just kidding, they were. It's like, you're a monster. Yeah,
Yes, dude.
the achievements in the AI and everything are really funny, and as if you like video games, even if you're not like a big reader or audible, like a audiobook enjoyer, I think it's a great book. Like I would recommend it to people who just like RPG games because it really does kind of feel like you're experiencing a video game you're listening to.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a lot of really cool elements of it because that's a really unique thing. There's not very many books that cross those genre lines in that way. You know, so I think
Yeah, it's just. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
oh no, I was just gonna say I think it's fun. It's a really fun book. It's enjoyable. It makes you laugh, but it also still makes you think about things. It makes you kind of like sad. It makes you happy. It kind of it effectively encapsulates a lot of emotions. And I think that you kind of jump back and forth between being the audience and being Carl and Donut in the sense of like you are literally the audience for the book and you're enjoying it. You're laughing or whatever at the jokes and everything. And then you're also kind of like, oh my god, the reality of like everyone is gone. Like Donut wants Beatrice back and everything, and like and all the realities that kind of come together at the same time. You are the people going glorp glorp, you know.
Yep, I
Like,
was in fact that person.
yeah, I was glorp glorping.
Glorp glorping.
So it's very cool that it reminds me a lot of some like the older satire pieces in literature that do a very good job of like, oh, this is so funny until you think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you think about it and it's really existential and scary and crazy, and then you go back to laughing. you know.
So what happened on the second floor again? What was the overview of that one? So the
Uh
first one was like the Overcity where they get Mordecai or whatever. What was the second one?
the second one there was the rage elemental was
Yes.
a big
Yep.
part of
Yep.
it, and them air quotes breaking the game by getting it to chase them off the cliff and using the puddle jump spell to teleport so the rage elemental would fly off the map, which is also part of what the maestro was making fun of them for, was like, haha, you didn't get all that XP or whatever. And Carl was contemplating the fact that like, maybe it splits in two and it dies. Like there's definitely more to it if all those bombs were doing damage.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so there's that part when also the his friends that were helping keep all the retirement home group safe or whatever when the one lady dies or whatever to the rage elemental. That was a big part of that plot, as well as the grubs that evolve into or go through their pupation and then turn into the big hornet things.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Was a big part of it. The danger dingoes, and the
Oh
gnolls, or
yeah.
not gnolls, but the kobolds and the little chihuahua
So
guys.
did didn't Donut get a pet? Oh yeah, I'm just gonna have to cut this. I
Mon-
literally can't even think of the thing I'm trying
Mongo?
to say.
You mean Mongo?
Yeah, Mongo. Yeah, they were having like what were they doing? It was like
The
because the
the
Danger Dingoes were
kobold
the thing that
the
were in the
kobold boss.
yes, yep, and they had like a fighting ring or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after they get it, then they get Mongo as the prize, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, Mongo was the one that I was like really excited for you to meet because Mongo is incredible. And it's funny to me that a pet has a pet. Like that is such an interesting way because she's not a pet any longer. Like is
Right.
the other aspect about that is like she's literally an actual full-on player. So it's funny that his Carl's cat has its own pet that it's taken care of. I think it's so incredible. It's like so smart in the way that they go about it.
Yeah. It's uh, it's the book is just so much fun. It's so enjoyable. Um, and it feels like even though some things are kind of predictable and like there's my the only most of the elements of the book that I don't like are not really big issues because they're
Well,
kind
what
of
would you
like
say you don't
balanced.
like?
But I controversial opinion. I don't like Carl that much as a character. I think
Okay.
he's at least it could change. There's a lot more books. This is just the first book or whatever. I think that he's very overshadowed by Donut in the
Uh-huh.
sense that I feel like he has such a traditional like Duke Nukem meathead personality for the most part. And there is some nuance to his character, and like we're learning things about his past and his parents and everything, and like as we go, um, and who he is. But at the same time, like a lot of his character is what you would think of if you think of like a tanky brawler in like any game.
Right.
Which is, I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, it's not like a really big complaint, but I do think that Donut is a lot more of an enjoyable character than Carl. But they
She's the
balance each other.
personality for sure.
Yeah, they balance each other pretty well. But it's interesting. I think it's makes sense that the Dungeon Crawler Carl book is about Carl, but it's weird when like the secondary primary character is kind of like most of the personality.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And I like Princess Donut a lot as my literal favorite character so far by far. Is like just so perfect as to everything that we know about her and how it comes out through her personality and everything. And it's like that makes it a lot of fun. But that, and again, it's not really that big of a complaint ultimately what I'm talking about, but I just think Carl is not that exciting of a character individually, so I'm more into the the setting, the humor, the circumstances, and like the other characters.
Because I'm pretty sure this was in the fight with, with the dingoes when they get Mongo. Has the AI been weird at all about certain aspects of Carl?
His feet.
Yes, his feet. I was hoping that would get brought up artificially. I mean, naturally, but I will just force it in.
You're chomping at the bit to talk about Carl's feet. You're just like that AI. I tell
Dude,
you what.
I am the AI, by the way. By the way, guys, new book coming out soon. I'm the AI.
I knew it.
He literally the dungeon master of the whole thing is obsessed with the main character because he's got pretty feet. And his fetish is more so when Carl kills stuff with his feet. So I wonder how that could possibly get weird at any point. It is it's honestly like you were saying, like you kind of get into it because it's like a D&D style role playing. This guy's life's getting torn to shreds. His cat talks now. And then it just reminds you, oh yeah, by the way, this is a comedic book. We're just gonna throw a little bit of foot fetish in there. Why not?
Yeah,
That's one of the main reasons why I like the AI so much is it's just like, what the hell even is this? What are they talking about?
yeah, and also like when he crushes the boss underfoot, and the AI is like tweaking out over how hot it
He's like
is.
moaning. Oh, I love when he reads the achievements and he reads it in like a perverted voice.
Yeah, I it's one thing that's crazy to me is that the first book was like moderately long, like it's not like a super long book, but I would say it's longer than an average book, and it's only the first like two floors of the dungeon.
Yeah.
So, and they said 18 floors total, I
Yeah, and
believe.
every book going forward is only going to be one floor.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah, it's so as of right now, I am on the eighth floor. So every book will only be the one. Like you're not going to be getting any more two floors. Because I was really excited. I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude, we're going to get two floors a book. Nope, not how it's going, brother. So it's this is what I was telling you. I think we talked about this off the air. I probably would have waited a little bit longer to start the series if I knew it was not finished. I thought the seventh book was the last book or whatever, but it's not. He's got another book coming out in like January or whatever. But the good news is that every book coming out going forward will have an Audible release the same day. So I'm probably just going to start getting them as they come out.
Yeah, also he's done a really good job at releasing these pretty promptly. I think
Yeah.
all of these have come out within a year or less of each other.
Yeah, I think he started, the first book came out in like right before COVID. So like at the beginning of 2020, and he's seven books in, and the eighth one will be out soon.
Yeah, he's been crushing it. Um, I think two of them even released like in the same year.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Um, yeah, the second actually book 2, 3, and 4 all came out in 2021.
Jesus.
And then book 5 came out 2022, book 6 2023, and book 7 was 2024. And again, these are
That's
like
honestly,
fairly long books. Like they're 14 to 18 hours on Audible, I believe.
I think the first 5 books are, I think, 16 hours and under. Because the first book's, I think, like 12, and then the second one's, I think, a little shorter. But the last two, so the one I'm on and the one after, they're both like 27 hours. So they really do start to get up there, which it does make sense, though, why it is getting now just year to year. But as you've seen just how it goes from floor to floor, he's writing this book in a linear fashion. It's not like a 3 book trilogy where this book has a complete story, this book has a complete story, this book has a complete story, and all 3 of the stories are connected, but they're complete separate stories.
Yeah.
Each single floor, when he's done with the floor, he immediately starts the next one. There isn't a conclusion. There isn't any story arc set. I mean, the only real ending is a floor ending, as you've seen, like with between 1 and 2. So it's like I understand how he's pumping them out because he's basically just writing one straight book all the way through, however many floors they go through.
Yeah, and also I'm sure he had a pretty linear map of like his master plan and then just has to fill it in. And it's like you can tell he has fun writing these.
Oh,
You can definitely
absolutely.
tell he is enjoying this, and like most of the stuff kind of flows naturally because of how well, at least so far, I have a lot more books ahead of me. But they it flows naturally as to who the characters are. Like Carl is gonna come up with a really big good idea that's gonna work really big or almost work. Um, and like Donut is gonna get them into trouble because of her impulsiveness, but her power is gonna balance that out. And like a lot of the story kind of naturally leads from itself, and then we know the overarching thing is there's 18 floors of the dungeon. How far are they gonna get into the dungeon before they don't?
That's the thing that I thought was kind of funny too about when Donut becomes like her own character. Is Mordecai is like, oh yeah, she's a lot stronger than you, and he's like, no fucking way. And she's literally like 2 or 3 times as strong as him starting out.
Yeah.
Like that cracked me up immediately too. But I'm pretty sure, like you were saying about not liking Carl without talking about anything going past where you're at, I think this book specifically was one to establish what they're dealing with and how they are probably going to work with each other or whatever. But also the fact that they're kind of establishing Donut as the character that she's going to be because she went from not having a personality or thought or anything to becoming one. So it definitely seems a lot more focused around her personality. But I would just say that I think they did that for a specific reason and that going forward, it might be more of a co headliner sort of thing. You know what I mean?
I get you.
I think he just really tried to put effort into making sure people realize like what she's about, what she does, because she was not a thing to begin with.
I want to be clear too. It's not that I don't like Carl. I like him
You
as
hate him.
actually hate his guts. I can't wait till he dies and it's just
Glurp glurp.
Princess Donut and Mongo on their way forward. Uh, but no, I it's not that I don't like him. I just think he's not as exciting of a character so far, and less fun in the sense of like I feel like every time Carl did something, I knew pretty much exactly what he was gonna do. But that's part
Right.
of who he is as a character. Is he's pretty predictable. He's pretty.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
absolutely.
say one dimensional in the sense that he does. You can definitely tell the things affect him or whatever. It's not like he's emotionless, but he he's more guarded, and I'm sure that will come down a little bit as we go on. But
Yeah.
in sometimes it just comes across as pretty flat because of that.
I think a mountain could look flat next to Princess Donut though. I mean, let's be real here. He's up against some heavy hitters.
That's true. I mean, she is the goat. Um,
She's so good.
the number one magic missile firer this side of the Mississippi. Um,
every Mississippi, the galactic Mississippi.
The Borant Company's Total Mississippi. Um, yeah, no, again, it's not that I don't like him. I just think could be more interesting, I guess, than he is so far.
For sure, I get what you mean.
But I think he is a very particular character archetype, and maybe that's also I have some personal bias that's not my favorite character archetype either.
I also think too, he's just a normal guy, and comparing him to like if you compare him to like what he's dealing with, a lot of what he interacts with are not humans. So it's a normal person dealing with non-people. And I think that is also another thing that is very interesting is to see like what would a normal working class normal guy, how would he handle these situations? And Donut has pointed out multiple times he loves action movies, so it definitely would make sense that he's going to be a certain way until people get used to what they're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like you were saying, like everybody would probably be very guarded and shook by the situation that they're in. Obviously, Donut's having fun because she's a fucking cat. They don't have any cares in the world.
Yeah.
And that that really leans into who she is as a character. But like, yeah, I could definitely see myself being like a Carl. Like I could see myself being a Carl if I was shoved into that situation if I didn't crack immediately. Let's be honest, I'd probably crack immediately. I'm on the edge. But you know what I mean? Like, I definitely get what you're saying completely, but I definitely think that with every single series, characters definitely get bigger as it goes on and you learn more about their motivations and they get more used to being in the situation they're in. Like in The Hobbit, Bilbo's kind of a weenie. Just a big old weenie. And then he ends up, doing all that great stuff. That's sort of like what I would say is what Carl's deal is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you. I definitely am expecting more character development from him. And again, I think it is primarily a character archetype thing. But
yeah,
because I have a personal bias that I'm usually drawn to wizards, and Donut is the wizard.
True.
Compared to the fighter class kind of person or whatever. And he definitely has the personality of a fighter class person.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. But, all right, brother, do you have anything else you want to say about this before we pop out?
I would just say that I highly recommend it, and I do think that I wanted to say that I will definitely be checking out the second one, and it'll probably take me a little bit to finish it because I have a couple books I'm reading at the same time, but I will hopefully have it done within a couple weeks.
Okay. We'll keep everybody updated then on the podcast. I am hoping to be done within the next few weeks myself. The only problem is I'm starting a new job, so that might make it a little difficult to get any read time in, other than going to and from work. But, I'll be driving to Detroit every goddamn day, so I'll have time on the way to and from. But, yeah, we'll have more updates about stuff like that, too. It's just me and Hunter have been super busy. We haven't really recorded, clearly, you guys have seen. So, we just wanted to get this out there and try to have an episode in the interim. It might be a little shaky going forward, too. It really just depends on how me and Hunter settle into our new roles and what time we end up having. So just bear with us, guys, and we'll try to put out more regularly than we have been.
And as always, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms.
Give me your paycheck.
Give me your paycheck.
Glurp Glurp.
Glurp Glurp. Maestro.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.